I want you to stay with me till the very end of this video because what you are about to hear is one of the wildest clashes happening right now in the world of music, entertainment, and documentaries. This story involves Sean Diddy Combs, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, Robin Roberts, Netflix, and leaked footage that has now sparked a massive argument that the whole world is talking about. Trust me, the deeper we go into this story, the more shocking.
Listen to me. I'm going to get off the phone right now, and I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution. No matter what, no matter what nobody said. Let's just here and there, y'all are not working together the right way. We're losing.
The footage. So watch closely and do not miss a single second. Everything begins with new footage of Diddy. Footage he says was stolen, showing him behind the scenes, talking to fans, getting dressed, asking for hand sanitizer, and even arguing with his legal team just 6 days before his arrest in New York. In the clips, Diddy tells his lawyers that they need to find someone who can work in what he calls the dirtiest of dirty business because, in his words, we're losing. These moments were never meant to be seen by the public, and that is exactly why Diddy is furious. His spokesperson says this footage was private, never approved for release, and was supposed to be used in his own personal documentary that he has been building since he was just 19 years old. So when he found out Netflix was using this material, he called it illegal and shameful. Now here is where things get even more dramatic. Netflix has a huge upcoming 4-part series titled Sean Combs, The Reckoning. And the person leading this project is none other than longtime Diddy rival 50 Cent. Yes, the same 50 Cent who has been clowning Diddy for decades, the same 50 Cent who never misses a chance to throw shade online. And now, he is at the center of a documentary about Diddy's rise, fall, scandals, and the court cases that have filled headlines over the past year. Already, this setup alone sounds like the beginning of a storm, and trust me, we are only getting started, so make sure you keep watching. 50 Cent sat down with Robin Roberts on Good Morning America to talk about this documentary, and the interview went viral immediately. Robin asked him what he thinks Diddy would feel if Diddy watches this documentary. And 50 Cent, without blinking, answered that Diddy would probably say, "Wow, this is amazing. This is the best documentary I've seen in a long time." That answer shocked everyone because it sounded like pure sarcasm, classic 50 Cent style. But 50 said he isn't trying to be personal. Instead, he believes the documentary reveals truths that people need to see. Whether you believe him or not probably depends on how you see the long history between these two men. The documentary does not only show never-before-seen Diddy footage, it also includes 2 jurors who speak publicly for the first time about Diddy's court case and how they reached their mixed verdict. They describe the process as scary because 12 people had to decide the fate of someone as powerful as Diddy. Imagine being in that room with all the pressure, all the emotions, all the evidence. The jurors explain how those moments went and how heavy the responsibility felt. Their voices will definitely bring new discussion when the documentary releases. Meanwhile, Diddy is currently locked up in a New Jersey prison serving a 50-month sentence connected to prostitution-related charges. Even from behind bars, he responded through his spokesperson. According to him, the documentary is not just unfair, it is a straight-up hit piece. He says Netflix took footage he filmed for personal use and shaped it into a story that he never approved. He also says it's shocking that Netflix gave full creative control to someone like 50 Cent, who he calls an adversary with a personal vendetta. But 50 Cent hit back and said that people who think he is making this documentary because of beef are wrong. He explained that his issues with Diddy began years ago when Diddy made certain comments about taking him shopping. Comments that 50 said felt like a tester, like Diddy was checking to see if 50 would come play with him. According to 50, he was uncomfortable with that moment, and that is where their tension began. He says his goal now is not revenge, but truth.
Footage is part of a new, highly anticipated docuseries by director Alex Stapleton and rapper and executive producer Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, titled Sean Combs, The Reckoning. Was there anything that surprised you when you were watching?
I think it was surprising that he actually filmed it.
It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his brand presence. You know, he has a really amazing knack for marketing and all of that, and how he was sort of taking that into account in how he was coming off to the public.
Truth for the victims, truth for the public, and truth that he believes Diddy already knows deep inside. Whether you agree with 50 or not, one thing is clear: this documentary will bring fire. Before this documentary even hits Netflix, fans are already divided. Some say 50 Cent is using this to embarrass Diddy, others say Diddy is only angry because the truth is coming out. Some think Netflix should not have taken footage that Diddy filmed privately, while others say once evidence leaks, it becomes part of public interest. And then there are people who believe both men have their own secrets and they're using the media to fight a battle that has been brewing for decades. No matter which side you're on, one thing cannot be denied: this is one of the most intense entertainment wars of the year. Now, here is something important for you to understand as we go deeper. This story is not just celebrity drama. It's a mix of legal issues, leaked footage, personal grudges, and the future of one of the biggest artists in hip-hop history. Diddy built an empire that stretched from music to fashion to business, and 50 Cent built his own empire with music, acting, producing shows, and now creating documentaries. So this moment is not just two men fighting, it's two legends colliding on the public stage. But what happens when the documentary finally drops? Will it damage Diddy forever? Will it boost 50 Cent even more as a power in the media world? Will the public change their opinion on Diddy after seeing the leaked footage and the jurors' statements? Or will people question Netflix's motives and wonder whether 50 Cent used this as a way to get personal payback? These questions are huge, and by the end of the documentary's release, the world will probably look at this rivalry differently. And remember, Diddy says he has been recording his life since he was 19 years old because he wanted to tell his own story one day. Imagine how much footage he has: years, decades of behind-the-scenes moments, conversations, trips, arguments, wins, losses. If even a small amount of that material leaked and was used without permission, you can understand why he is calling this situation illegal. But 50 Cent doesn't seem worried. He says the truth will speak for itself. I want you to keep watching till the very end of this video because the next part is where everything comes together. When Netflix works with a producer like 50 Cent, and when Diddy is inside a prison calling the project a hit piece, it creates a storm that the entertainment world has not seen in a long time. And whether you like Diddy or dislike Diddy, whether you respect 50 Cent or can't stand him, you know both of these men know how to fight, know how to influence people, and know how to shape public opinion. So here is the final takeaway. This documentary is not just a show. It is a battlefield. It is a test of power, truth, control, and reputation. And when the world watches it on December 2nd, everyone will form their own opinion. But the biggest question will remain: whose story is the real one? Stay tuned until the end of this video because this story is far from finished, and the clash between Diddy and 50 Cent is only getting hotter. Everything started when Netflix got their hands on new footage of Sean "Diddy" Combs recorded in the days before his arrest last September in New York. This footage shows Diddy moving around behind the scenes, telling someone to put things inside his fanny pack, talking to fans, and speaking to his lawyers while trying to figure out how to respond to the charges he was facing. What shocked everyone is how open he seemed on camera. At one point, Diddy tells his lawyers that they need to work together better because, in his own words, we're losing. It is rare to see Diddy speaking in such a raw and unfiltered way, especially when he knew major legal trouble was coming. That is why this footage is so important. It shows a side of Diddy that the public almost never sees. Netflix took this rare footage and used it in a new documentary series led by none other than 50 Cent. And that alone has already caused a huge storm because 50 Cent has been one of Diddy's biggest critics for years. He has joked about him, trolled him, talked about him on social media, and even warned other artists to stay away from him. So when people found out that 50 Cent was making a documentary about Diddy, the internet exploded. Many said it would be personal. Others said 50 Cent would bring the truth. Some said it was revenge, and some believed it would finally expose things that had been hidden for a long time. No matter what people believed, everyone agreed on one thing: this documentary would change everything. Before the documentary dropped, Netflix released a short clip of the unreleased Diddy footage, and people were stunned. Even the hosts who were discussing it said it was shocking that Diddy recorded himself during such private and stressful moments. Diddy is known for being careful about his image, his brand, his style, and the way he presents himself to the world. So the fact that he filmed everything, even arguments with his lawyers, caught everyone by surprise. It also raised one big question. If Diddy recorded the footage, how did 50 Cent get it? And this is where the story gets even crazier. According to reports, Diddy usually travels with a video person or photographer who documents everything for him. But during those specific days, that usual person sent someone else in their place. That replacement person is believed to be the one who had access to the footage and possibly sold it. Diddy's team said that Diddy had a legal agreement with his videographer, but they are not sure if that agreement covers the replacement who came instead. Even worse, Diddy's lawyers say they did not even know this replacement person was unpaid until after the documentary was announced. That means this person may have kept some footage and sold it simply because they were angry about not being paid. If this is true, it means Netflix and 50 Cent may have obtained the footage through a deal with someone who did not even have the rights to sell it. Diddy's team said they are still investigating whether the footage belonged to Diddy or the person who shot it. They also said they believe some of the material came from a time when Netflix had early talks with Diddy about him doing his own documentary. But those talks reportedly fell apart because Diddy wanted full creative control and Netflix did not want him to control everything. So Diddy backed out, and now he believes Netflix used footage that he recorded for his own project. This is why Diddy's team said they sent a formal notice to Netflix claiming the footage was unauthorized, private, and never approved for release. They said the footage was created under an incomplete agreement and was meant for a different purpose entirely. They believe Netflix used it anyway and gave full control of the project to a man who has been going at Diddy for over 20 years, 50 Cent. Now let's talk about the moment when 50 Cent responded to people who accused him of doing this documentary out of hate or personal problems with Diddy. When 50 was asked why he is doing this, he said that many people think their issues date back 20 years because Diddy once suggested that he'd take 50 shopping. 50 said it found that moment uncomfortable and felt like Diddy was testing him to see if he would come play with him. 50 said it is not personal now, and he simply wants to tell the story from all sides. He also said that the documentary is not only filled with people who dislike Diddy, but also people who knew him, worked with him, supported him, and saw things up close. The documentary includes many cast members: Aubrey O'Day from Danity Kane, Kirk Burrows, who co-founded Bad Boy, Roxanne Johnson from EPMD, who was also married to Craig Mack, Mark Curry, Brooklyn Babs from Making the Band, Capricorn Clark, who was a former Bad Boy creative director, Clayton Howard, Keena Harper from Dirty Money, Eric Sermon, D1, and even jurors from Diddy's court case. And yes, the documentary even includes the man known for rubbing lotion on his nipples, the escort mentioned during old allegations, although his full name was not clearly identified during the discussion. All of these people have their own experiences, stories, and memories, and they add details that most fans have never heard before. Even the hosts who were discussing it said it was shocking that Capricorn Clark agreed to be in it because she once testified about a moment involving Diddy's car being blown up. The fact that she appeared in this documentary shows just how deep 50 Cent went into finding people connected to Diddy's life. Now, some people began saying that this documentary makes hip-hop look bad. They claim that this is another attack on the culture and that 50 Cent is adding fuel to the fire. But when 50 Cent was asked about this directly, he shut that idea down quickly. He said that hip-hop is not on trial, only Diddy is. He said that when Harvey Weinstein went to court, nobody said the whole Hollywood world was on trial. When big clothing brands face scandals, nobody said the whole fashion world was on trial. According to 50 Cent, this is about Diddy's own actions and not about hip-hop at all. He said if he stayed quiet, people would think the entire rap world supported Diddy's behavior. But by speaking up, he makes it clear that the culture does not agree with everything Diddy has done. And here is where the story gets even heavier. Many people began asking if Diddy could file a lawsuit to stop this documentary. Some said Netflix must have done their research carefully because a company that big would not risk releasing something illegal. The hosts discussing the story said the same thing. Netflix never puts out anything this big unless they're sure they're protected. Even if legal action comes later, the documentary is already out. Millions of people will see it. Even if it disappears tomorrow, the footage has already spread. But Diddy's team is not giving up. They say their legal team is notifying Netflix officially that they believe the footage belongs to Diddy. They say there was an agreement with the original videographer, but they don't know yet if that agreement covers the replacement who sold it. They also believe a conversation was supposed to happen between Netflix and Diddy about working together, but once Diddy learned he wouldn't have full creative control, he walked away. They think Netflix ended up with some of that old footage and used it without checking if it was legally theirs. Even the host said they expect lawsuits, especially if the videographer signed a contract with Diddy that prevents him from selling the footage. If he sold it anyway, then he could be the one who gets sued. But right now, nobody knows exactly what the contract said, who owned the footage, or who broke the agreement. And until Diddy's team finds out, the documentary continues to stream.
Now here is where things get even more intense, so stay with me until the end because the deeper we go into this situation between 50 Cent and Diddy, the more surprising it becomes. Everything around this documentary is tangled with legal issues, personal history, leaked footage, and people from Diddy's past stepping forward in a way that most fans never imagined. This is not just some small story. This is something that is shaking hip-hop, entertainment, and even the legal world. And trust me, you will want to hear every detail of how this could change the future for Diddy. Once the public learned that Netflix had released footage recorded by Diddy in the days leading up to his arrest, the big question became, how did 50 Cent even get the footage? The article explained that Diddy usually works with a trusted videographer who films everything around him. But during those specific days, the videographer sent someone else, a replacement, to do the filming. According to what Diddy's team found out later, this replacement person had disagreements with Diddy and was never paid for the work at the time. So this person may have kept a copy of the footage and then sold it. But here is the problem. Diddy had a contract with the original videographer, not the replacement. So nobody knows whether this replacement person had any legal right to give or sell anything to 50 Cent or Netflix. This is why Diddy's team is angry. They say the footage was meant for Diddy's personal documentary, something he has been working on for years. They say the footage was private and never approved for public release. They believe Netflix and 50 Cent used footage that was never theirs to begin with. And that is a huge issue, especially because the footage includes very personal moments of Diddy arguing with his lawyers, stressing out about the case, and admitting that they are losing. That kind of footage can influence the public in a big way. But here's the twist. The hosts who discussed the situation said that Netflix is not the type of company that takes risks like that. Netflix is known for having a strong legal team that checks every detail before releasing anything. So if Netflix decided to use the footage, that means they must have believed they legally had the right to do so. Even if the footage came from a replacement worker, Netflix must have gone through the files, contracts, sources, and legal steps before putting the documentary out. That is why some people think Diddy may not be able to stop the documentary even if he wants to. Now, 50 Cent's role in all of this is huge. The documentary is under his creative control, and he appears in interviews explaining why he produced it. Many people believe the documentary is personal because of the long history between 50 Cent and Diddy. For years, 50 has made fun of him, questioned him, and suggested that Diddy made him uncomfortable back in the early 2000s. When 50 Cent was asked why he was doing this documentary, he explained that the tension between him and Diddy started when Diddy suggested taking him shopping. 50 said it felt strange, like Diddy was testing him to see if he would come play. This moment stuck with 50 for decades, and people always wondered if that was the start of their issues. But 50 Cent also said the documentary is not about personal attacks. He said he wanted to give people from Diddy's past a chance to speak. He said the documentary includes voices that are not just negative, but also people who worked closely with Diddy during his career. And when you see the list of cast members, you can understand how deep the documentary goes. Aubrey O'Day from Danity Kane is in it. She has spoken many times about her time at Bad Boy and the pressure she went through. Kirk Burrows, co-founder of Bad Boy, appears too. He worked beside Diddy from the start. Roxanne Johnson, who was once married to Craig Mack and is connected to EPMD, also has moments in the film. Brooklyn Babs from Making the Band speaks about her experience. Mark Curry, who worked for Bad Boy and wrote a book about his experiences with the label, is in it. Capricorn Clark, who worked as a creative director at Bad Boy, also appears, and she is someone who once testified in a serious moment involving Diddy's car. So her presence adds even more weight to the story. Eric Sermon and D1 are also part of the documentary, bringing more voices from the music world. And then you have Keena Harper from Dirty Money, which makes things even more interesting because fans have speculated for years about her connection to Diddy. And yes, even jurors from Diddy's legal case appear. They speak about how they reached their verdict and how stressful it was to decide the future of a man as powerful as Diddy. This mix of cast members shows that the documentary is not one-sided. It includes people from all angles. But what made the internet explode was the fact that someone in the documentary, an escort mentioned in past allegations, appears briefly too. Although his full name was not stated during the discussion, people recognized him as the person who rubbed lotion on his nipples during one of the allegations. His presence made fans wonder what else the documentary will reveal. Now, let's talk about something important. A lot of people claimed that releasing this documentary was bad for hip-hop, saying it paints the culture in a negative way. But 50 Cent shut that idea down completely. He said that this is not about hip-hop at all. He said that when Harvey Weinstein went to court, nobody said the whole movie world was bad. When clothing companies had scandals, nobody said fashion was on trial. And when powerful people in other industries got exposed, nobody blamed the entire group. 50 Cent said that this documentary is about Diddy's actions, not hip-hop. He said staying silent makes the world think the culture supports everything Diddy has done, which he believes is not true. And in the interview clip, when 50 Cent was asked how Diddy would feel if he watched the documentary, he joked that Diddy would probably say, "This is the best documentary I've seen in a long time." Even though he was joking, the line went viral because it shows 50 Cent's usual humor, sharp, sarcastic, and bold. But this situation is not just about jokes. Some people began asking if this documentary could affect Diddy's appeal. Diddy is trying to appeal his case, and while the documentary doesn't change the legal record, judges are human. They watch the news, they hear public discussion, and they can feel influenced even if they try not to be. The hosts talking about the story said that the documentary can't legally hurt Diddy, but it can emotionally influence the people watching, including people in the legal system. And that alone could make things harder for Diddy. One of the hosts also pointed out something very important. Once a documentary is on Netflix, it cannot be hidden. Even if Diddy sues, people will record it, download it, and share it. The footage will be out forever. Nothing can erase it anymore. And this is why Diddy's team is panicking. In their official statement, they said Netflix used footage that was private and unauthorized. They said the footage was created for a different purpose and under an agreement that was never finished. They said Netflix knew there were legal problems, but released the documentary anyway. And now Diddy's lawyers are sending formal notices to Netflix. But here's the hard truth. The documentary is already out, and millions of people watched it the moment it was released. Even if Netflix removes it tomorrow, people already know the details. The clips are already spreading online. The story is not going away. There is still so much more to break down, and we are just getting started. Stay with me until the very end because the next part explains how this documentary could change Diddy's entire future.